nursing shortages. I haven't heard of this. I don't know if this is real, but I think it's part of a narrative. I don't think there's nursing shortages, but let me play this video.
The United States is facing a critical issue, a nursing shortage. According to experts, the shortage is only expected to intensify as baby boomers age. Many states have turned to immigration to help lessen the impact, but as the White House's immigration crackdown intensifies, will we continue to be a nation that attracts much needed nurses? In tonight's Prime Focus, our Christian Cordero heads to Michigan, one of the states projected to have the largest nursing shortage by 2035.
For registered nurse Jarek Tabudlo, the journey to the operating room is long and not one he takes for granted.
I think the thrill of quote-unquote saving lives through surgery is kind of satisfying when you're closing the skin already. Patient was safe, patient was alive.
He works for Detroit's Henry Ford Hospital, an 877-bed Level 1 trauma center, the flagship of Michigan's expansive Henry Ford Health. Like many hospitals nationwide, Henry Ford is hiring.
This went down about 155.
The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services expects a nationwide nursing shortage will intensify over the next decade, projecting Washington, Georgia, California, Oregon, and Michigan will have the largest deficits. Chief Nursing Officer Eric Wallace says Henry Ford is down about 1,100 nurses. In addition to the hundreds of hospital workers who cross the Detroit River every day from Canada, Henry Ford also hires from the Philippines. Why the Philippines?
The Philippines is a great place for a number of reasons. One is, and probably first and foremost, is they train their nurses very similarly to the way that we do here.
It's a relationship that goes back generations, with Filipinos today making up 1% of the U.S. population and 4% of the nation's nursing workforce.
You know, ABC is not, they don't really like this current administration. And again, like I said, when you listen to news, everybody has a narrative, right? Everybody's spinning some type of narrative. So when you talk about nursing shortages, right, and you try to link it to this administration's immigration stances, it's a slight jab. And I'm cool with it. I don't even care. My thing is, at the end of the day, I'm here to talk about stuff and I'm the detangler. That's my name. I'm the detangler. I like to detangle things so we can have honest conversations. And the issue with immigration right now with this current administration is not legal immigration. It's illegal immigration. So shout out to all my Filipinos who are in nursing. I know a lot of other people, all different races that are in nursing. Shout out to all the nurses. Now, the nursing thing, even if you talk about a shortage, it's not from illegal immigration doesn't help for there to be nurses, right? Legal immigration is obviously great for all different aspects of the workforce, right? Including nursing. But, you know, this subliminal thing they try to say, well, because of this administration's immigration policies, it may affect nursing. No. So nursing, let me talk about this for a minute. So nursing, now this is from what I've observed. Nurses, one of the problems with nurses is that they're getting tired of the unsafe environments. They're getting tired of the treatment by hospitals. They're getting tired of treatment from families and not being appreciated. So that's what I've been seeing, right? Particularly unsafe work situations, right? So I don't see a shortage of nurses. And even from what I'm seeing from the comments, there isn't a shortage of nurses. Nurses are just tired of a lot of the stuff they have to go through, right? So I say this to say, now this was something that happened a couple of months ago in Florida. There was a nurse who was beaten into damn near a coma by a patient that had some mental issues, obviously. And you know, I remember this story a couple months back. I didn't cover it, but I did check it, and it's something that kind of hit me because, you know, she should have been protected. You know, this shouldn't even have happened. Let me just play this real quick and we'll talk about that.
Well, the family of a Florida nurse who was brutally attacked by a psychiatric patient is now demanding answers. They want to know why there wasn't security on the patient as their mother now remains in the ICU. Sydney Joseph and her brother, Chris Lall, say their world has turned upside down. Their mother, Leela Lal, a nurse for 21 years at Palms West Hospital, was beaten almost to death by Stephen Scantlebury in the third floor patient room. Scantlebury then escaped and was arrested running down Southern Boulevard. Leela was airlifted to a trauma unit with almost every bone in her face broken.
Couldn't recognize her. Her both eyes were swollen. She was intubated. Her whole face on the right side was swollen. Multiple fractures throughout her face, bleeding in the brain.
It's rough seeing your mom, like the person that took care of you for your entire life, and then, seeing her in that state where you can't really do anything.
The siblings are outraged that the Palms West even admitted Scantlebury, a psychiatric patient, under a Baker Act hold because the hospital is not a Baker Act receiving facility and lacks the training and security needed. Now, a Baker Act hold is a temporary detention of up to 72 hours for a mental health evaluation in Florida. Take a listen to who appears to be the CEO of the hospital talking to a 911 operator.
We had a Baker Act beat a staff member unconscious, now running around the building.
You said they assaulted the employee until they passed out?
Yeah, unconscious. I'm not worried about that part. I need the Baker I dealt with.
I was furious. She gave everything to that hospital. And to hear whoever it was on the recording say that they didn't care about her, that hit me like in a way I can't describe.
Now, if you heard that recording correctly, they said that was either the CEO. He's talking to 911, saying that they have, a patient who's, obviously escaped or ran out, and he talked about how the patient beat up this nurse unconscious, and he's saying on the line, well, I'm not so much worried about that. I'm more worried about the Baker Act patient or whatever. And of course, the daughter's like, yo, what are you talking about? You're not worried about that. So when you talk about, I kind of look at ABC, I'm like, come on. As soon as I saw them talk about this nursing shortage because of the immigration policies of the current administration, this was a couple of days ago, it immediately took me back to that story from this story about the nurse getting beat damn near to death. It immediately brought me back to that because I'm like, come on. Now, YouTube comments sometimes are factual, sometimes they're not, but they give you a good consensus of what's going on. So when ABC runs this story and they say there's going to be a nursing shortage because they're trying to take a jab at immigration. So when you go through and look at it, now, I know plenty of nurses and I know plenty of people in the medical field. So, there's no shortage of nurses. Let's take a look at some of the comments. There's no shortage of nurses. Let me share this real quick. Let's go through the comments, because when I read through the comments, I was like, you know what? A lot of that sounds true to me, because from my experience, that's what I hear and know. So let me go through that real quick. So let's go through the comments. So there's no shortage of nurses. Hospitals won't put enough people on staff because they want to maximize profits. We need mandated ratios, right? There's no shortage of nurses, right? And they are not willing to put up with abusive behavior from patients, hospitals, and administration. Like I said, nurses don't feel protected, right? Nor are they compensated fairly, right? Hospitals have been working together to suppress wages forever, right? So let's go through more. Now, let me look at something else here, because this is something else that I saw too. So stop the lies. The nurses, there's always been nursing shortages due to hospital greediness, right? There's no nursing shortage. Those of us who worked in healthcare know this, right? Also, here's an ER nurse. I'm an ER nurse, and my employer did not give us nurses a raise this year, but the managers and CEO did not lose their annual bonuses. We work in unsafe conditions, doing the same job that 2 or 3 nurses should be doing, not receiving any type of incentives. Not even a thank you most times. Corporate is okay with that. Profits are number one. All right. So you go through this. Okay, hospitals are the problem. Profits over patients. It's sad that the hospitals won't address the real issues in healthcare, right? Nope. Not due to immigration. There are many new nurses that are looking for jobs, but management always blames budget and keeps low staff. So in the end of the year, they can make big bonuses.